Well, we are just about to witness the opening of Marvel's Phase 5 with Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, and it's not off to a great start. It looks like we are, in fact, in for another Marvel disaster after, an entire phase of disaster movies. And really, did any of us actually have high expectations? No, for the majority of Marvel movies these days, my expectations are hitting the floor. That's how low they are. So I really don't expect anything out of Quantumania. And it seems like even the critics are bashing this film, as it's already down to 54% rotten. It's not far away from the Eternals. It's way past Thor in the Dark World. And just looking at that 54%, that tells me, so it's going to be a whole lot worse than the critics actually let on. It's going to be really bad. So now I'm just worrying about how long is it going to take me to actually get all the notes I need to basically say how bad this movie is going to be. It's already at 54%. That's not good. That just tells you all you need to know, that it's going to be a complete and utter disaster. Even if you look at it just from the top critics' perspective, 41%, that's how low down it is. Again, I didn't have high expectations. I imagine that this is, once we get to the end of Phase 5, Kevin Feige is going to be out, we were just experimenting. That's what we were doing. Is that probably what we're going to see? Just an entire phase of trash. The only one that I think has a chance is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. And then after that, we have the Marvels. So, we ain't got a lot of choices left. But let's see what the critics are actually saying about this. Mainly, we're going to be looking at the negative ones, and that's the majority of them. The majority of them are just rotten. That's all they really are. But let's go through some of them, see what we can pull out of it. So you have Neil Pond from Neil's Entertainment Picks says, this supersized, noisy, and sometimes chaotic superhero adventure won't be for everyone. So it means it won't be for anyone that has standards. Particularly those who like their movies smaller, quieter, a bit more subtle, and with less blowout spectacle and fewer ants. Visually, the film is messy and flat. The CGI is shockingly poor. I expected that. I fully expected that. We're dealing with a film that is nothing but CGI. So it's not going to be nice to look at for 2 hours. And the action looks muddled. At least Quantumania has one of the best casts in a Marvel film. Because that is what's always made them good, is the casting. That's where our worries are. How good is the casting, not the story? A perfectly enjoyable, perfectly disposable. That's not very. I don't see how this is a fresh review. I do find it very strange when it comes to Rotten Tomatoes that it's fresh, yet you just said it's perfectly disposable. That's no good then, is it? Surely you want a film that people go back and watch. But we know that isn't what Marvel is anymore. It's just watch it, say it's the best film ever, move on. Move on to the next film. Essentially an animated film, fucking hell, where the cast performed most of their roles in front of green screens. A good film to chew gum to. So I don't get how that's fresh. We've got Movie Blob. Let's see what he has to say. Delivers. He's given it a 7 out of 10. That's not really unusual for him. Delivers, however, disjointedly, but it's a 7 out of 10. On B-lister in Over His Head, cosmic adventure romp, despite obvious post-pandemic schedule retooling into a big franchise place setter. Buoyed by a scene-stealing heavy turn from Jonathan Majors. We've kind of went over some of this stuff the previous week. It's just now that, the more in-depth reviews are out now, it's just went completely the other way. When we covered it last week, it was, there were some negative ones, but it was mostly positive. You had someone literally say that Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania was the best sci-fi ever. Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania has to be the most inert, lifeless film in the MC yet. That's not good, is it? This new Ant-Man outing truly lives up to its title. The manic, multicolored world makes it feel like you've just stepped in the Star Wars cantina, while weird and wonderful creatures fill the screen. Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania is certainly likeable. It has laughs, astonishing visuals, and a terrifying villain. But it also has some little bugs. You know, I don't think it's going to be little bugs. I think it's just going to be a broken film. There are just a few niggling flaws that bite at you and refuse to let go. While there's a kooky, psychedelic feel that echoes Star Wars and Guardians of the Galaxy, it falls under the weight of its own ambition and loses sight of what made its two predecessors so breezily enjoyable. Ant-Man is being asked to kick off Phase 5. That's what you kick off Phase 5 with. Of the Wayward Universe, a challenge he rises to meet. Ant-Man is an example of bad comedy. It's bad drama, bad science fiction, and a waste of everyone in it, including Evangeline Lilly and Michael Douglas. So there really is some scathing reviews here, which, you know, it's always surprising. It just points to how bad it must be for the critics to not even want to defend it. That tells you what type of badness it is. A well-acted film with some elements that work, but that in general doesn't quite come together. And that by trying to do a lot, it loses all the charm that was so present in its two predecessors. Quantumania may not be everything I wanted it to be, but from beginning to end, this was a film that touched my heart, made me laugh, and dazzled my senses. Okay. Ironic that after all the millions of dollars spent on computer-generated pizzazz, the best special effects come from two of the real-life stars serving up some real-life acting. Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania starts Phase 5 off with a flop, as a dull story and questionable execution causes the film to be a wildly worthless miss. So that's kind of what you're looking at the moment. You know, you could just go through most of these, and the majority of it is just, you know, rotten. You know, you just have to go through the entire thing. So it's not surprising. It's not surprising that we survived Phase 4. Phase 5 is going to open with something that is obviously going to be complete garbage. Then we go into Guardians of the Galaxy Vol. 3. Again, that's the only movie that could be good. That's the most likely one, that if something's going to be good, that will be the one. And then after that, we get the Marvels, which we still haven't got a trailer, by the way. I'm still waiting on that. That film's probably going to be, again, another disaster. So, you know, it's not surprising at this point. The MCU has been going downhill for the past 2 years, and it's probably just gonna continue that. So we'll have to see on Friday how this film turns out. I'll be doing a full breakdown of it, and now I'm just like, oh, it's gonna take ages, isn't it? It's gonna take ages to get through this film. But yeah, that's what we're kicking off Phase 5 with. An absolute failure.